Patrick.
I know.
Playing video games is not a grown-up thing.
It is definitely a grown-up thing.
It's certainly not.
Tell that to every grown-up that plays video games. That makes a living off of it.
That's not what we're talking about.
That's a grown-up.
Those are people working.
That's a grown-up playing video, but they're playing video games. Yep.
Starting off great by getting
video games.
insulted by
Great.
Pat here. I play video games. I'm 43 years old.
I also like video games.
Kids games. Everybody's got their hobbies. I like a hobby.
Well, what's your hobby?
Building Euro cars and sneakers.
Did you say Nero cars?
Euro cars.
Euro cars.
Like cars from Europe.
From Europe, okay.
Yep.
I thought that was like a special like model car thing, like remote control cars.
I don't. I wouldn't be lucky enough to have a hobby that's
RC
that
cars are
inexpensive.
sick, too.
RC cars are pretty cool.
RC cars.
That's a cool hobby. I think that's a great hobby for, especially for the technical side of it, for young folks to get into. You know what I mean? It's something, and you know, obviously, like grown-ups building. I don't have anything against video games. I'll tell you what I have something against. What I have against video games is the way that they become obsessive and unreasonable interruptions to regular everyday to day things, and I've seen that pretty often.
Well, with everything.
Yeah, that's
With everything, sure.
You could be that with sports.
Well,
you know.
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
There's a lot of unfunctional hobbies. You know what I mean? Like, for me, the unfunctional part of my hobby is the financial side of it. My hobby is way too expensive. My kid plays video games, and occasionally I have to like, hey, my guy, like, you've been playing video games for 2 days straight. Like, take a fucking shower and let's go outside and walk the dogs and hang out together and like talk and do cool shit.
Yeah.
You know, I don't see anything wrong with it, but like, I know Joe's a big gamer and he's into gaming online, and I think all that stuff is fun, and I know people make a lot of money doing it, and that's cool too, that you can make money. But I think some people become obsessed in an unhealthy way with a lot of things. But
yeah, it doesn't
video
matter
games,
whether it's video games or
yeah,
not.
but video games have a special corner in that, and you know what I mean by that.
But yeah,
like,
because it's, I mean, for a lot of people, it's an escape from their reality.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, so they want to get, you know, that form of entertainment, or they want to use that form of entertainment as their escape.
Yep.
I mean,
and
you know,
there's
I'm
no,
the
listen,
same way
there's
with
no, it's a
movies.
much healthier than doing fucking hard drugs or, you know,
True.
getting into like some weird shit. Like, I don't see anything wrong with it. It's just I like to bust balls and call it kids games, because I mean, I also feel that way about sports. There are people making $200 million playing for the Yankees or the Dodgers, and they're essentially playing a game that was made for children.
Yeah.
And it's fucking great that people love it, but it's still, to me, it's still kind of crazy that that's a thing. You know what I mean?
Go outside and play ball. Like that was a kid's thing.
It's a kid's thing. It started as a game for kids that grew into a pastime for a country. Baseball, football, you know, basketball, all these really cool things, and I think they're great. I think it's cool, but it's still like kind of a kid's game. So when you say that to people that love it, they immediately like that take it as disrespect, where all I mean is like, it's kind of like a whole...
Was it made for kids, though?
Sports?
Was it?
I don't know, was it?
I mean, I think a bunch of adults are probably the ones that created the games.
How do you know?
Because it was founded by an adult.
How do you know?
Because
But how do you know he didn't steal it from some kid like everybody else
He
steals
could've.
something from somebody
He
else
could've.
in this shithole country
It's
that we live in?
possible.
Let's get into politics. No, I'm just kidding.
Politics and religion is what I'm here for.
I mean,
immediately.
Here's what I'm going to say. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that these are traditionally, when you see, other than professional sports, you mainly see young people playing sports, right? High school, middle school, elementary school, and sure, adults play ball, and there's, you know, basketball, baseball, football fields, all that stuff filled with adults, because it's a pastime from when they were kids. If you don't move on to be a professional, then it becomes a hobby. If you move on to be a professional, then you're a professional, you know, in professional sports, and that's your job. But it still started when you were a kid, and that's usually because of obsessive parents, and that's a whole other podcast.
Well, I'm going to do a proper intro. I'm going to keep all of that in, though. But,
Hell yeah, let's go, dude.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the RRBG podcast. We are here in Santa Ana, California, in the large, first time for you guys, tour bus For Fit for an Autopsy, I'm here with Tim and Pat of Fit for an Autopsy. Guys, how are you?
Great.
Great.
I love fun. This conversation's already... And
It's
everybody
all fun.
only take half of what I say seriously.
No, please.
Just talking
Angry
shit.
comments, whatever gets my numbers up, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it all anger now?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I think you got to be angry. You have to be angry and polarized to be on
Right.
the internet. You have one thing or the other, motherfucker.
Can't go viral
you know?
otherwise.
Yeah.
Got to be tribal. Got to pick a side. So let's
Yeah.
talk about genres.
Yeah, my least
Yeah,
favorite.
sure.
My least favorite.
Oh,
I just had
man.
that talk on the internet.
genres, politics, and religion.
We'll get
The elections
into it.
are almost here.
Well,
Who are
I mean,
you voting
we-
for?
we
I'm
could-
just-
No
could
one.
also talk-
Not one fucking person. That's who
We
I'm
could
voting
also
for.
talk about how Tonewood is a myth. It's not real.
Tonewood.
Yeah, I knew he.
Like,
I knew that was
school
going
me-
to go
school me-
way
school
up.
me.
Like,
Okay, guitar shit.
Ohms,
Okay.
Guitar
ohms
nerd
are
shit.
not real.
I mean, according
Ohms
to
are not real.
who
According
was
to
that?
Buzz,
Buzz
you
from
know.
Unearth.
Yeah.
Ohms don't exist.
Ohms don't exist.
Look,
Okay.
this is all. This is all. You know how you got your video game stuff that like you could talk about for hours and I would never understand.
Yeah.
This is my guitar nerd shit.
Okay.
Now you
So-
have two guitarists on a podcast. You
Yeah,
say that
it's
a
going to
lot,
be
dude.
mostly guitar talk.
Okay.
But here's what I'll say. Let's not talk about anything that's not related to Fit for an Autopsy for a little while or related to how cool you are. Like, let's do that because if we get into the rabbit hole of everything that's going on in this country, I'm sure we'll touch on it a little bit with some of the
course.
subject matter or
Yeah.
going on in the world. The conversation's going to be a drag.
Yeah.
And I like fun, and this tour has been awesome, and our new record is sick, and everybody that's been coming out to these shows has been fucking fantastic.
Nice.
So let's do the fun shit for a little while, and eventually lean
Let's
into.
get unhinged.
Let's. If I start saying the stuff I want to say on the internet,
You guys are in for a wild ride.
Hell yeah. No, yes. Okay, so let's talk about the album. Cool. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Immediately when I heard Hostage, I pre-ordered the vinyl as fast as I could. But I did have a question in regards to that, like that song specifically.
sure.
It has a very melodic singing, clean singing hook to it.
Yep.
And you guys have had clean singing before, but it always felt layered and like just maybe part of the...
That's kind of a. That's okay. Let's tell some
I mean,
truths.
it's true though.
I would say that, but then there's a lot of tracks where it's standout. There's like some
I
things like Napalm Dreams is a perfect example of that. Like
Okay.
Yeah.
a lot of those songs, like we've been working towards this for like a pretty long time, and we made a decision after the process of human extermination that we were going to get as far away from whatever constraints our genre is as fast as we possibly could. We couldn't do it with Nate Johnson because while Nate was a notably great singer and had a unbelievably powerful voice, I mean, just talking to the dude, it's like you knew he had something in his chest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was a monster. But Joe has this whole other bag of tricks that Nate didn't hold on to. So we just decided a long time ago that nobody was going to tell us what we could and couldn't do. And we all like a lot of different music. So this is something that everybody keeps saying that, like it's too much. And it's like, it's really not too much. It's however fucking much we want it to be, you know?
It's also
And
to
go ahead.
touch on that. It's kind of funny, like when I read comments, because like most of the time, like I'm reading stuff on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or Reddit or whatever it may be, where people are like, "Hey, like Fit's new record, like, what's the deal with all this singing and stuff like that?" And I'm like,
You knew it was coming.
Well, it's not even that. Like we've been doing this for a long time. Like
Yeah.
if you've been a fan of the band for 10 years, like the first time we actually had like full on clean singing was Depression Sessions.
Yes.
When we did the cover of Nine Inch Nails' Perfect Drug at the end, that was Joe singing, So, and that came out in what, 2016?
8 years ago.
So that was 8 years ago, So when people are like, oh, well, what is this? It's like, it's been on every record since 2016. Where have you been?
Yeah.
It's
It's like people hear us say certain things and talk about certain things, and they say things like, "Don't get too political, bro. You're gonna lose your fan base." I'm like, my brother in Christ. Have you read our lyrics? Like,
You've never paid attention to Fit,
don't talk about
period.
politics or poison food or any. That's all our fucking lyrics are about.
I'll
Like,
tell you, as a
I mean-
former singer in a band for 10 years, nobody pays attention to lyrics.
it's fucking crazy.
They don't
like,
give a fuck.
I mean, I don't. To be honest, I don't. To be very honest,
look,
I don't.
Here's the thing. You don't have to agree with us. If you just like the music, that's cool. And if you're a decent person and you don't necessarily agree with everything that we think, because sometimes we don't agree. Sometimes we disagree about stuff and we have long talks about what we're going to do and what we're not going to do, from the live show all the way down to lyrics and everything in between. Like, before we released this record, Will and I sat outside his house and had a really long talk about some subject matter on this record and how we wanted to approach it, because we do have some pretty touchy material and things that we wanted to do. And nobody's going to tell us what to do, but also at the same time, it's fucking okay not to agree. It's fine. You don't have to agree. And that's okay. But yeah, listen, I just think it's ridiculous.
I love, one of my favorite bands is Advent. Advent is a Christian band. I am not religious at all, but I still love that band.
Everybody likes the ass beater riff.
That's what I'm saying. I love Sleeping Giant. Sleeping Giant's another one. Love that band. I'm not religious, but hey, Christian hardcore bands, heavy as fuck.
Yeah.
Mosh for Jesus.
Yeah.
That's
hey,
what
you
I'm
want to know
saying.
what? As long as you're moshing for something, that's all I care about.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, like for that, for Hostage, I don't think the singing is too much. In fact, it was what drew me like almost immediately. Like, oh hell yeah, I like this.
Hell
and
Joe's talented, man.
That voice is, you would think he wouldn't scream anymore, so not to like damage it or whatever the fuck. But
well, if it was up to him, he wouldn't.
Yeah.
Shout out to Joe. Joe started actually singing. Joe's got like a big background in like pop music and like, mainstream stuff. And he kind of got into the heavier stuff a little later, which is fine because I think it gave him a whole gaggle of tricks that he wouldn't have, if he hadn't done that. But you ask him like Michael Jackson and, fucking boy bands and like all that stuff. And it's just what he loves. And that's okay. Like, and it shows in his singing. He's getting better and better and stronger, and he's great. But go ahead, let's get this question.
Well,
You've been charged for 20
minutes. I think the reason people are kind of taken aback with too much singing or whatever, I don't think it's too much singing compared to what you've done in the past. I just think that in the past, I felt that like the singing was coming in during verses, whereas in Hostage, it's the chorus. It's like right in your face, and it's hooky. It gets stuck in your head, so I think people are. That's what they're focusing on.
Now you're just saying everything that I was going to say.
Yeah.
Right. Like, we're trying to create memorable songs. It's funny. I was reading on the internet, and all these people are like, "This is the best record," blah blah. And some guys are like, "Not one memorable song," and I'm like, I don't know if you're listening to the same record, and that's cool. But if you don't like it, and it sticks in your head that you don't like it, motherfucker, that's a memorable song, whether you like it or not. And it's in there, and every time you hear it, you might go, oh, it doesn't sound like Process of Human Extermination or Hellbound. And that's okay, because those records exist, and I like that you like it, because that gave me the open door to bring my band to where we are, right? But it's still fucking memorable, and you still listen to it, and I appreciate you listening and voicing your opinion, because it's okay for you not to like everything we do.
Well, also, you have to think, a lot of people that listen to Fit came from the deathcore genre, right?
Yes.
Where Fit started and so on and so forth. So when people are listening to Fit and they're like, this isn't a deathcore band, it's just like, well, we haven't been necessarily a deathcore band for 10 plus years.
And we didn't come out and say, hey guys, we're starting a deathcore band. We came out and said, here's this record that we wrote. The next one might be different. Yeah. And then the next one's going to be different again. So nobody wants to. I mean, you could eat pizza every day for the rest of your life, but you probably don't want to eat the same pizza every day for the rest of your life.
So when people, try and keep a band conformed to a certain genre, they hear elements outside of that genre and go, oh, well, what is this?
What do we call that? Opinions.
Exactly.
They're called opinions. And they're based in personal fact. So when somebody comes to me, like, Germany is like classic for this.
Oh, dude.
Your last record was not as good as your next one, or this one's so much better than the other bullshit you put out. But the thing that's cool about that is those records are always going to exist. They're always going to be there. Maybe you like Masters of Reality. Maybe you like Heaven and Hell. Maybe you like Mob Rules. Like you can like whatever Black Sabbath records you want, because they're here forever and you can listen to them forever. And that's the beauty of it.
Also, think of it this way, right? There's so many bands that I love where I only like 3 or 4 tracks off of that record. You know, not every song is for me. Not every song's written, for me. It's just not what my ears like, right? So it's okay to like 2 or 3 songs off the record and then just take the rest of it and be like, it's not for me.
I can tell you that we have at least this record. I would say no, but most of our records, we have at least 1 or 2 songs that I'm like, me. And then everybody wants to hear those fucking songs.
Yeah, of course, everybody wants to hear those songs.
It's like, these are pretty good. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's not that it's filler. It's just that you write them and they get recorded and you're like, okay, this is cool. And then you listen to the record and you realize how much more powerful the rest of it is. And then you got the ones that you're like, okay, they're there, it's fine. And then everyone likes those Those are the ones everybody wants to hear. Yeah. So even we don't like everything that we do all the time. It's not that we don't like it. It's just like we like other stuff maybe a little bit more. Yeah. But this record, I don't think there's any filler on this record. I think it's all killer tracks.
All killer, no filler.
Thriller.
Hell yeah. That's how I felt when I heard it. I put it on, and usually that happens because I get a lot of music for podcast interview requests and stuff like that. Sure. So I'll pop it on, and then after the third song, I'm like, all right, I'm good. I get it. But for this album, the whole thing played, and I'm like, wait, what? And I just rewind, play it again because I didn't feel at any moment like I should stop this.
Well, that's awesome
because it keeps going up and down. There's different things in it that keeps me hooked.
Let's talk about the difference between a single, an EP, and an LP. Right? To me, a single's just got to be a banger. Like Hellions, everybody loved that banger. Right? Fear Tomorrow, banger. Everybody loved it. So you release an EP, if it's got a couple of bangers on it and 1 or 2 good songs, that's a great EP. But when you have an LP, when you have a 10-song plus record, you want to create a song out of a record. So one of the most important things that a lot of young bands miss, and I think you learn this over time, and I think Fit was maybe in the beginning a little bit, exposed to this idea, is the lack of understanding when it comes to how to categorize where your songs fall on a record. Like the way a record is put together, the list is as important as the songs, because you want to open with a banger, have it come up, have it come down a little bit, have it peak back up, because then the record feels like one long soundtrack. Yeah. It doesn't feel like a bunch of songs thrown together. So that's something we think about a lot. Like, how do we put this record together? How do the songs fall? Even when we write a set, like today, if you do stay for the show, and I hope you do, it's gonna start hard, peak, 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 and then it comes down just a little bit, and then shoots back up, and then the last couple songs bring you down, and the last song is like an exit song. It's like, okay, we're out of here. Thanks for being here with us tonight. See you later. So we do our set in that same kind of way. It's true. Doesn't make it easy for us. Sometimes it's very hard to do it that way.
Amen to that.
Because placement of songs is hard, especially on Joe, because we have some clean singing at the end of the set, and he's been ripping his voice apart. So we empathize with him, but it's just the way. That's how you make a great set. So we think about all of those things before we play and when we put a set together. So, that's one of the things with this record I think Will was really smart about, was the way that he did the track listing. Because generally the last song on the record is always this weird experimental thing for us. Like Napalm's Dreams was the last song. The Man That I Was Not is the last song. Silver Sun is the last song. It's always this kind of drifty, experimental. This one's got this Deftones meets Fit meets Opeth meets weird fucking thing going on. It's a pretty crazy one when you listen to it. But we're just feeling ourselves, and Will wrote a fucking ripper, and it's the one that closed the record. So I think bands should be paying attention to that kind of stuff, and that will help make really good records.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When you guys write, do you write, there's bands that do 40 songs, and then you end up with 10 on the album and a bunch of B-sides, or every song that you're writing is intentional and going on the album?
No, it's definitely
a little from column A, a little from column B.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of it, with Will, the way he writes, it's he'll do song starts where, he'll start 20 different songs.
Yep.
And then he says, okay, well, I really like these, these I think I could, finish to be absolutely perfect. And then he'll narrow it down to where we have 10 tracks. So there's certain songs that, he'll have 75% of, but then, the next record, he's like, you know what, I really like this song. I think it'll fit great on this record. Let's put this, let's put my focus into this and put it on this record.
Yes, Savior of None, Ashes of All is actually an example of that. That was a song that started being written during the Future Hold sessions and got left over. And then he figured out, because sometimes you get stuck and you got ideas that work better for other songs. So you have to kind of you don't want to waste too much time, because then you throw yourself into writer's block or end up in this weird situation. So you move on from it, take your other ideas. And it just ended up sitting. It got shelved for a little while. And, in that same vein, Pandora and all those other songs that are like that bouncy feel, it just didn't have the right ending like those songs did. So, it sat for a while, and then that was it. And then you end up using it on the next record, and I think it's a banger. It's a great song.
So does all the beginnings come from Will? I mean, how involved are you guys? He's the main contributor.
Yeah. Will, like every band, there's one or two people with the kind of the base for the soup, and then everybody comes in and adds their own spices and takes it where it needs to go.
Sprinkles in their magic.
Will and I talk a lot about the direction he wants to go with things, and then he starts writing, and then we start sharing, and we talk about composition and where parts are, extend this, cut this back, oh, this sounds like that song, blah blah blah. And then he takes our advice or our notes into consideration while he's writing, and then sometimes me and Blue will send him riffs and things like that, and he'll use them when he sees they're applicable. But the truth of the matter is he is the main composer. Tim and I write the majority of the guitar solos. Blue and Hossein come in, write their leads. We all have our thing, but Will has the, I guess, what the sound of the band should be in his brain. And we wrote our first record like every other band, in a room. And then Will took some time off of touring for a while, and that's how we ended up with Tim. So we were on the road touring, and he was writing music at home because he was working on his engineering and producing career. Yeah. Which is, if you know anything about Will, I mean, he's a Grammy winner. He's the real deal. So we would go out, and then he'd be like, oh, I got all these ideas for a new record. And we're all like, oh, well, we got ideas. And then we listen to him. We're like, fuck, this is awesome. So much better.
Seriously.
How do you argue with perfect songs?
Right.
And everybody will be like, oh, well, your guitar player doesn't tour with you. Well, I know a lot of people in studios that are getting paid to write records for other people. So, Will is a band member, and he is the last original member with me. Him and I are the two guys that have been in the band since 2007. So I don't want to lose my best friend in playing music. And
he's in the video for Hostage too.
He's in every video we've ever done.
Yeah.
He's a member of the band.
Will's involved in literally every aspect of the band
except
minus
for touring,
playing live shows.
Yeah. And the thing is now that his career is more established, he's realized he wants to play in bands and tour. But even Better Lovers and End, they're not touring as much as Fit for an Autopsy is. I mean, at least not yet. Better Lovers looks like it's going to be doing some cool shit. They're murdering it right now. And they're touring and doing their thing, but I mean, we're trying to do 150, 200 days a year. You know what I mean? We're that's what we love. We love being on tour. Will loves writing music. We love touring. It's like a perfect marriage. And I think people think that we're embarrassed of that. I don't give a fuck. I love playing the stuff that we all write. And maybe you don't like the fact that, Will is part of my band, but that's my dude. And I'll back that dude forever. And as long as he wants to write for Fit, I'm down to play the songs.
And it kind of creates this cool dynamic where the machine never stops.
Yeah.
The machine always keeps turning. So we would come home, whereas most bands would have to go home and then sit and record and write for 6 months and do all that stuff. Fit never necessarily had to do that. We would come home and we would have 60-70% of a record ready to go. And we're like, oh cool, we can spend 3 weeks to a month, go in, record, do all that stuff, and then go right back out on tour.
Nice.
So that machine, that cogwheel just keeps spinning.
It's efficient.
The only reason we took time off last year is because we had been touring I think we did like.
We were told to.
Yeah, we were actually
We were
actually told it was time to take some time off. We didn't really want to.
Booking agent, they were like, guys,
stop.
Straight up.
Stop accepting these things.
Yeah.
And Jonathan wasn't wrong. Like, it was time for a break.
Yep.
It's always hard to not do your job. Especially something that you love.
Of course.
But it was good to be home with my family. It was good to have some time at home, and I have another career and spend some time with that. Tim's got a couple small businesses and things that he does, and it was nice to focus on that. But I would say 4 or 5 months in, I was ready to be back on the road.
Amen
my
to
wife
that.
was probably ready for me to be back on the road too. But it's hard to explain to a lot of people because they don't understand the dynamic.
Yeah.
But that's okay because good music comes out of it, and like we're pretty fucking tight live. We do what we do, and it's cool. We love our job.
I think it makes sense. I try not to dig too much. I'm not your, typical, people call me a journalist. I'm like, I'm not a fucking journalist. I don't dig that deep. Like, I listen to the albums. I'll find out people's names and stuff to have a conversation with them.
Sure.
But, I didn't know Will wasn't a touring member until not too long ago when I saw the Better Lovers tour. I'm like, how the fuck is he doing 2 tours?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Well,
Listen, there's people that still don't know, and it's funny because every time, like in Atlanta, now me and Will don't look anything alike. I was walking through the crowd with my cousin, and a kid came up, Will, can I get a picture? Will, and I'm just like, I'm not Will. That's not Will either. We don't look like Will. Dude, all the time.
You can't blame people. I like that people are not blinded by the people and they just like the music. It's kind of cool. I love that. If we could all be, on some Sleep Token shit and be anonymous, that would be fucking sick. You know what I mean? Like, I like that. That's a cool thing about Sleep Token. It's like people don't know who those people are. Yeah. They just like the music. It's so cool.
Yeah. It creates a whole community of people trying to figure it out too, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Dude,
we may or may not have had opportunity to meet those folks who are some of the sweetest people in the world,
super
allegedly.
Nice dudes.
And they told us people digging into their lives and trying to find out. He's like, it's kind of crazy.
And it's
why ruin the mystery?
Exactly. And you know what the best part about it? I don't care how involved, in depth in the music world that you are. You think you don't know. You have no idea.
You have no idea.
Dude, listen, if there's people that are super in depth in the music world that have no idea, you're never going to find out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even Slipknot kept it pretty low key for a pretty long time.
Long time.
And it could ruin it, man. I think it didn't ruin Slipknot, but the mystique was kind of gone for me once I saw, what was it, Stone Sour?
Stone Sour, yeah.
When he took the mask off, I'm like, oh, you're a normal human.
Well,
put the mask back on.
Look, everybody's got their way. First of all, the Slipknot dudes are really nice people.
Yeah.
And Tim's pretty close with Jim, and we got to meet those guys a bunch, and Jim's Jim actually is the reason that I work with Jackson Guitars. I had a company I was working with, and the relationship didn't work out, and I was pretty bummed. And I called Tim, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking call Jackson. I'm done. I'll go back to my roots. I want to get back to a company that's been working with metal before. They created that company specifically for Randy Rhoads. The whole story is really cool. So. My first guitar was a Charvel Model 2.
Nice.
So I was like, why am I wasting my time, blah, blah, blah. And then Tim's like, Jim asked if you want him to make the connection, and he fucking did it. And he didn't have to do that for me. So there are some really nice people in this industry, and the man behind the mask is actually pretty fucking cool. It's kind of nice.
That's my fucking guy.
Yeah, and you meet your quote unquote heroes. Sometimes they suck, but in that case, maybe not so much. So I understand the mystique, but it's also kind of nice that they're cool.
Yeah.
Corey was so nice to me. We played Aftershock with them, and he let me play with his dogs, and I walked off the bus, and he was like, "Hey, Pat," and I was like, "Hi, Mr. Corey Taylor, who sings in Slipknot. How do you know my name?" But he's in another band, and a buddy of mine plays drums. There's all these links. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of connections.
And cute fucking dogs.
Nice.
And his kid's great. The Vended band, they're all good
Griffin's
people.
Awesome.
Really nice people.
I can't believe the voice on that kid because I heard the album. I'm like, that's Corey.
Yeah.
He's definitely in the studio singing for his kid. There's no way that's the kid.
We did a tour with them.
Yeah.
And you stand side stage and you close your eyes, and while he sounds He's got his own
Yeah.
thing. You can hear the inflection, the family trait.
Oh, yeah.
You hear it there. He's got that chest, dude.
To touch on that real quick, and kind of bring it a little bit more broad, right? So when we toured with Vended, all those dudes are awesome. Band's awesome. Kids are all great. And it's cool because, like, that's just another band that has opened up a tour that we've done that's just awesome.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like all of the bands that we've had out on tour that, either, it's our headliner or we're support or something like that, all of these bands that are younger than us are so hungry, and they're taking it, they're doing it properly. They're working their asses off. Bands like, Vended being one, Undeath, I Am. I mean, dude, you have all of these bands that have come out with us over the past.
Look at this tour.
Yeah, dude, perfect.
Judiciary, perfect example.
Awesome.
Like, and Distant. I mean,
Yeah.
Silosis is also one of those bands, but they've also been a band for a long
been
time, and
around
Josh has
forever,
got a lot of experience. He toured a lot with Architects. And, but, I mean, everyone, even Body Snatcher, like, those dudes are a pretty big band, but they're, like, hungry still, and they want to do it. And this tour is fantastic.
Yeah.
And, like, the sales are great. People are coming out. Shows are crazy. Even the lighter shows have been, like, I think we did one that was, like, a little over, just under 500. It was probably the smallest show on the tour, which is still great. But the crowd was intense.
Nuts.
And they all bought merch, and everybody had a good merch night. Like, I would rather play, everybody wants to play to 5 million people, but I'd rather play a show with 500 super hungry fans to a bunch of bands that are hungry and want to play and put on a show than play, to 5,000 people who could care less if we were on stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's, like, all these bands are hungry. All the people that are coming out to these shows want to be there. Like, it's really great right now, music-wise.
And none of them are dickheads. It's great.
We're the dickheads.
100%. But, having bands like that, like, on tour that are hungry, that are like, all right, we want to work. We want to bust our ass to get to this point because, we want that. We want the feeling of really working for it. Like, it's sick.
It's the benefit, I think, of the whole rock star thing kind of dying out, where people were getting into music to become rock stars or make money or blah, 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 blah. Where now they realize, well, that's a bad idea because the music industry is shit. So we're doing it because we love it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, also you have to remember that the days of making real money, like big people money.
Yeah.
Not make. I mean, you can make a living. Like, we're making a living.
The amount of bands that are making millions of dollars off of this, or even six figures off of this, is very slim.
It's not as real as people think it is. It is out there. You just have to really work for it.
Yeah.
And not to say that. I mean, if we didn't make enough money to pay our bills, we couldn't do this job because it's still a job. Like, I got a family to feed, and I would have to be home working. But now I'm on the road working. It's still fucking work. You know what I mean? But I mean, the truth of the matter is the days of, like, $10 million signing bonuses and, getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, like those days are gone. So, like, the people that are actually doing this are the people that just want to play guitar. Yeah. And it's so funny, like, there's this joke thing on the internet, like, what girls think guys expect when they buy a new guitar. And it's like a bunch of girls, like, fawning over the guy, or a bunch of guys fawning over the girl. And then it's like what guitar players really expect, and it's like a bunch of dudes, like, clapping in the, like when it's the whole reasoning for doing it is different. It's not about, impressing the, whatever you're attracted to. It's about, doing a job and playing guitar or playing drums and singing and creating and doing this thing. The dream is different now. You're not chasing after this dollar thing anymore. You can't. If you do, then you just don't make it.
Even bands that are making that money, like a Slipknot, they are investing all of that money back into the band. There's 150 people in that crew. Yeah. Plus pyro and all the technology.
If people knew how much money fire costs on tour.
Yeah, dude, it's insane.
I want fire so bad.
They're making a shit ton of money, but most of that's going right back into the production and all of that.
That's one thing that people forget, is that it's called music business for a reason. Like, at the end of the day, all of these things that all of these bands are trying to do costs money. You know, so when you see a band going out and they have this massive production, or even like, you know, a pop artist that has this, you know, huge stage, this, you know, these pillars around these stadiums and stuff like that, it's just like, yo, that all costs money, and that all costs people in order to do that. And it's like, you know,
well,
it's
look
crazy.
Look at a band like Metallica.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but like Metallica sets the bar when it comes to live show in the extreme world, or in the heavy metal world, or hard rock, whatever you want to call them. They set the bar, and they have a crew that's split in two, and I believe there's a little over 110 people or something like that. I don't know. It's some pretty large crew. They have multiple sound people, multiple tour managers, multiple drivers, multiple 18-wheelers, multiple buses. Now, it's a very big production, and one half of their crew goes to the next date.
Oh yeah, like
to
an
set up
A crew.
It's
and
an A crew and a B crew.
Yeah.
And while they're playing a show in, say, New Jersey or New York or wherever, their crew is in Connecticut or, you know, Massachusetts, setting up for the next weekend. So it costs unbelievable amounts of money to run those kinds of setups.
So many moving parts.
Yeah, and that's the thing people don't get. So like a little rinky-dink thing like what we're doing, we're like a little pimple on the ass of the metal world, you know what I mean?
And also you have smaller tours.
Yeah.
You have smaller tours that have a day crew and a night crew.
Yeah.
Where, you know, they're getting into that venue so early that, like, you know, they're doing their walks at, say, 7 a.m. to fly their PA system, set up the stage, do all this wild stuff. And then they're like, all right, well, I have to be up at 7 o'clock in the morning the next day, or 6 o'clock in the morning, right? So they'll go to bed. They need a night crew to tear down at 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning and get their stuff in.
I'll tell you a secret. Fit is nowhere near that. We got like we got a sound guy, a TM, and a couple of people to help along the way, a light tech, a merch person, like just a very, very simple, meager, but very effective and wonderful crew of people.
Crew's great.
You know, we don't have like an elaborate thing. You know, you mentioned that we're in a bus. This is the first time we've ever been able to do this, and it's only because we need to have the extra crew in order to play the venues that we're playing and keep the tour rolling the way it needs to.
Make those pieces, those puzzle pieces fit correctly.
It got to a point where we just couldn't do it ourselves anymore, you know, so there's a lot of benefits to doing what we do, but it's still very small scale. We're still a small band. We're not, you know, some big fancy band. People seem to think so, but I mean, we're playing 1,000-cap rooms, you know. We're not you know, Metallica, but what we are is very lucky that we can do what we do.
It's true.
So, you know, hopefully one day we can bump it up to bigger rooms and, you know, do bigger stuff. But according to that guy, not one notable song on the record, so that's probably not going to happen.
The people don't realize also that they think that the labels are still doing this tremendous lifting for you guys.
Okay, wait. Here's what I'll say. Nuclear Blast does a shit ton for Fit that a lot of other people wouldn't do. They believe in us.
Oh, for sure.
Monty and the team, Tommy, like everybody at Nuclear Blast is unbelievable. You know, we also work with 5B. 5B is incredible.
Yeah.
We work with Sound Talent. They're incredible. You know, like we have a really strong team of people working for us, but a lot of labels don't. And that started...
It's also the years of, like, you know, $500,000 worth of tour support. It's just not.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen anymore.
That doesn't happen anymore.
You know, the internet kind of, like, in a way ruined that, because while we're not making as much money, labels also aren't making as much money. Streaming services are the ones that are making the money. Mm-hmm. You know, the Spotifys and the, you know, whatever. They're well, I mean, there's a benefit to it. As much as it sucks that we're not making the money that we could be, also would 3 million people be streaming our single if we were just selling singles. There's a benefit, but the benefit does not outweigh the price. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it is not what people think it is. You know what I mean?
It's a big give and take. It's a big give and take.
Come on through.
Hey, everybody.
Everybody
Joe Bancher. Say hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Bye, Joe. It's fine.
Joe didn't get the group text.
It's fine.
I have family, which is over everything.
Yeah, sure.
Hell yeah.
Bye, Joe.
Bye.
Tell your cousin I say hello.
So a lot of things when it comes to streaming services and stuff like that, it's like Pat said, we wouldn't be able to reach the amount of people that we do if it wasn't for those streaming services. Obviously, it's a little bit harder to, get certain things because of streaming services, but it's
money.
A very big.
It's really hard to get money.
It's a very big give and take where it's just like you want the exposure so that you can play bigger shows so that more people listen to you.
Here's what I think. I think.
Let's get into politics now. I think now is
It's coming. It's coming. We're going to get there. I feel it coming. I think that streaming services could be a little nicer to artists.
Yes.
I think that there is definitely a happy medium in there. We understand that they provide a platform for us, but it's the same thing as venues taking merch cuts. They say, well, we're giving you a space to sell your merch. And it's like, okay, well, that's fair. You can take that merch cut, but I'm bringing this whole big crowd in with my band.
Who's buying drinks at your bar?
Can we have a cut of the bar?
Yeah.
Well, no. Well, wait a minute.
Well, that makes
Wait
no
a minute.
sense.
What do you
That's
mean?
not
What do you
fair.
fucking mean no?
That's not fair.
What do you mean no? And that's some bullshit, right? Like
Booze
I'll
is
call
food.
every promoter in the whole world out on that because you are saying we are giving you a space to sell your stuff, and it's like, okay, that might be true, but you're not providing a seller. You're not providing, somebody that's going to load in, load out. You're not setting up for us. You're just taking a cut of our merch because you provide us a space. Well, there's going to be anywhere from 750 to 1,000 people in this venue tonight, and they're all going to buy a few drinks. Don't we deserve 10 to 20% of that if that's the mindset that comes from, that whole thing? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. But whatever, and these promoters will talk shit about Spotify, but, I mean, that seems kind of similar, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of all the same thing, and that's the advantage that gets taken of musicians. That is like the thing that's been going on forever. So say what you will. We want to play clubs. We want to play the shows. We want to get paid and go on tour. So we'll pay the merch cuts and we'll do all these things. But, it's one of those things where, oh, there goes Woody. There he is. Yeah, it's cool. There's a camera right there. No big deal. It's all right. It's fine.
My show is completely unhinged. It's fine.
Yeah, it's out of control today. But, yeah. There is a give and take, and there is a positive side to all of those things. Yeah. And while we complain about it, thank you, Woody. While we complain about it, it's like, it's a necessary evil, I guess, at this point. There's no way to get around it.
Same goes for social media. It's poison, but you need it to get the word out for the band and for the business or whatever it is.
Let me touch on this because, it's kind of funny. I always talk about social media with certain people because obviously for certain people, social media is toxic to begin with, but social media for us is a tool, right? It is a tool, is a marketing tool, especially to get our name out there, reach the most amount of people, right? But there's a lot of people that don't use it as a tool and they just use it as a social aspect, and in that way it could be extremely detrimental, just like the video game stuff. We're talking about video games before, how people can be addicted to video games and just be not productive. There's so many people that are addicted to social media where it's just
they're also
not using it as a tool, you're just using it for your own vain reason.
For the dopamine hit.
They're not addicted to social media. They're addicted to the life that they wish they had, that they can pretend that they have through social media. And there's a whole other bad mental side to that, right? It's like, some people are out there living their best lives, but some people are faking it.
I'm living my best life.
And look, social media is a tool. It's also a great way to have communication. It's made a lot of people a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
It's done a lot of great things for people, great things for bands. I mean, the beginning of our whole scene comes from,
MySpace.
the MySpace days.
Oh, MySpace era.
So, it's fine, but it can be dangerous in the same way as anything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, we've talked about a lot of stuff.
Yes, we have. What time is it?
What else you got?
Go?
It's almost an hour.
All right, well, we'll cut it short soon. I wanted to bring up the point you
Let's
made.
bring it up. We got time.
You were talking about the album and some people reacting at that you're not a specific genre anymore. I was kind of hoping that was kind of going away because I've noticed a lot of bands and acts and artists that are doing kind of away with genres. Like you look at Poppy, for example, or Sleep Token.
Sure.
Where,
Well, I mean, the thing is like, you ever in a relationship that ended poorly?
oh yeah,
Does it ever end in the way that you want it to?
no,
No, it always takes a real long time, and there's a lot of complaining, and there's a lot of difficulty, and then eventually you accept where it's at, and then hopefully you become friends again because you cared about that person enough to be with them.
Yeah.
Right? So this is kind of the same thing. It's people that are, deathcore, brr, fuck you, that's all I love, and then you know you're one of their favorite bands or a band that they really like, and then you start bleeding into something else, and they take it as this personal thing, and they don't understand the creative side of being stuck. Right? You go crazy creatively if you can only write the same record every time, right? And that happens to every band. I mean, look at Whitechapel. They're even leaning out. They're doing different things. Job for a Cowboy, Genesis is a straight up death metal record. Like, all these bands kind of lean out. I mean, Suicide Silence experimented with different styles, and people loved it or hated it. It's just like a thing that happens when you want to be creative in a different way, and it's okay to be mad at me because we split up. You know what I mean? It's
also,
cool.
like,
We'll get over it. We'll be friends again. You
People
know?
that sit
cool.
there and, like, you know, they're like, I don't like this band because they're X genre. It's just like, how close-minded can you be?
Well, look at how polarized our country always is over every single thing.
Well,
dude.
yeah,
It's
but I'm
what
just talking
we
about
do.
the world.
But,
like, you know, the world. So it's
yeah,
like,
but I won't
you
agree
know,
with that.
What do you mean?
Because Europe is not like America.
You are 100% wrong.
I am not, because you want to know what?
There's so many kids that are like, I only like deathcore bands.
Sure.
And then if there's any sort of hardcore band, they're like, fuck that band forever. Blah 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 blah.
Wait a minute.
There's people like that all
I'm
around
not
the world.
saying that there's not, but what I am saying is I feel like our European fans are more open to hearing different kinds of music than the people here that are polarized in that thing. The people that come to our shows in America on these kinds of tours want to hear the people that we're bringing on tour, and they want to do that. In Europe, go look at those battle vests, bro. You got Hatebreed patches and Dimmu Borgir patches and
I feel
all
like
of
they're
those
a little
things.
bit more-
Hosien, come on in.
I feel like they're a little bit more straightforward. I feel
I-
like
I
they're
do-
like,
no,
would
I
never-
disagree.
Like battle vest guys. There's a lot. Listen, there's a
I don't
lot of
agree.
people that say, "Okay, yeah, I'm going to put all the stuff like that." But a lot of those battle vests, they're only thrash bands.
Oh no, I don't agree.
What do you mean?
I don't agree, dude. I've seen
Listen,
Devil
you know
Driver.
battle vest guys.
I've seen.
They're only putting either thrash bands or black metal bands.
I
They're
don't
like,
agree.
Like
It's an untrue
a guy
statement.
with a black metal fucking battle vest is not putting an
Okay,
Exodus
what
patch
you
on his
said
vest.
that takes the narrative into your corner.
No,
is,
but
and this
that's
is
what I'm
this is
saying.
what he's
There's-
doing. Tim,
No.
stop! I let you talk.
No, you didn't.
I did. You just
you
talked
didn't.
for like 4 minutes.
I think you guys should break up on my podcast.
The
That'd
point
be
is,
so cool.
we'll never break up. This is why we're together.
Yeah.
The point is that you said black metal vest. Sure, dude, that's covered in black metal, stuff's like that. But how many times have you seen a Hatebreed, a Behemoth patch, a Slayer patch, a Testament patch,
Oh,
an Exodus?
a lot, of
a
course.
lot of times.
But I've
That's
seen
my
more
point.
of the
I don't
opposite.
agree. I don't agree.
I've
You're
seen
just
more of the
talking
opposite.
shit now.
I'm sorry.
You know what? We're doing
sorry.
festivals in 2025.
You can't tell me
I got a going bet.
All right, deal.
We're gonna count
Deal.
as many as we can see. We're gonna take
Yeah.
pictures, and
Battle vests.
whoever's right, $1,000 at the end of the tour.
There's a battle vest Instagram.
I know, I
account.
saw
Have
it.
you seen
Sick.
that guy
Yeah, of
follows
course
us?
I saw it,
It's
dude.
awesome. It's literally just like flat lays of like the backs of battle
This is
vests.
what we do
It's crazy.
all the time. This is how we get along. It's the sickest
I
relationship.
almost
we've ever been
bought a fucking battle vest once.
in. No,
and
you're from America, dude. Let Europeans keep their culture, dude. That's for
I,
Viking metal, dude.
I tried
Yeah.
it on. I'm like, nah, this is not me. I
Yeah,
can't do
you
it.
I
know,
can't
for
do
certain, it works for
You
certain
see,
people.
you guys notice the lights keep turning on and off?
Yeah, it's my
Yeah,
energy.
I think
It's
it's
my
shore
energy,
power.
bro.
Yeah. Might be.
But no, I found that these days, as they're saying, people are a little more open in terms of different genres. Because I got brought up like Sleep Token is huge, and I can't pinpoint what kind of genre they are because you put on a song and it's R&B, and then the next song is gent, and then the next song is like
See,
you
want to know what it is? It's just cool music.
yeah.
Who cares? Because you go listen to a Deftones record,
Yeah.
right? If you like the Deftones, they got songs that are like bangers,
Yeah.
and then they got like that Digital Bath song that's like this washed out,
Go-
crazy,
go
borderline
listen to
electronic.
Frank Zappa.
Yeah, also
Like,
the same thing.
You have people like that are genre bending.
Yeah.
Where it's like they're not every song.
We like to
has
call it
be-
genre fluid.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Trans genre.
Yeah. you
Careful.
I know. Sorry,
Don't
but
get me mad at you on this podcast.
no. I feel like my
Don't.
it's gonna get flagged. Now there's not gonna be any views.
Well, you can just cut that out.
The algorithm.
Because we'll have an argument if you start talking like that. Keep it.
Flowing in between genres where it's just like, you can say like, oh, well, I'm going to put out a metal record and then I'm going to put out something else.
Yeah.
People have been doing that forever.
Sure.
where
I
it's
mean,
like,
go
I'm gonna
listen
put
to
out
it.
a blues record. Or,
Like Steve Vai played with Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to Passion and Warfare.
Yeah.
That'll run you through all the genres at
But then
the
he
time.
also played with Whitesnake.
And he played with but my point is like, I think a dude like that who's so versed in music cannot just play one genre because he's so creative, like overly creative. Because like if you look at a guy like Joe Satriani, he's a blues shredder. That's what that dude does. All his records have that feel. But you look at a guy like Steve Vai, his creativity is different. He's pulling from so many different worlds.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people that are in these bands that are not as talented as that dude, but love music like he does, and they want to be able to play a little bit of everything. So you know what? If you're in a death metal band and you want to put some clean singing in your vocals, or if you're in fucking I don't know. I mean, fucking country's stealing from hip hop. Like the world has gone crazy. Like it's crazy. And if you can't accept it, like there's no room for getting in the way of it anymore. It's just it is what it is.
You're gonna be influenced by certain things. Like, not a lot of people know that the main track, the main hook in Old Town Road from Lil Nas X is 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah.
Right? So that was on that Ghosts record, and it was just a small little clip that they were like, oh, so all of these different genres are taking from and being influenced by other genres. And, it's just, I don't know. There's so many people that want their idea of music to be a certain thing. But it's just like...
So remember when we were talking about the internet?
No, most of those people are not musicians. That's the difference.
Well, the thing is this is the internet thing. This is my opinion is the most important opinion.
Yeah.
This is what I think is the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
This is my right is righter than your right, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So, like, it's there's this selfishness involved in that. You know what I mean? Because I've said this a million times. I have views on things. I feel a certain way about certain things, and you can disagree with me, and I can accept that we don't agree.
Yeah.
And then we can argue about it for a couple of hours like me and Tim do at least once a day, laugh about it at the end of it, and then go watch fucking Morbid Angel play or something. Like, it's fucking cool. Yeah. We don't have to agree on everything. And, and as long as you're a good person and you're not a piece of shit, we can disagree about stuff and move forward. And not everybody has to also understand each other all the time. You don't need to understand me. You just need to understand that we don't agree on something.
Well, like you said,
and let's educate each other. Let's
social
teach each
media gave everybody their own little fucking soapbox.
everybody's got a platform.
Everybody got a soapbox.
And that's great. If that's the way you want to live your life, there's just no room for you in my life.
Yeah.
That's okay. I want to have opinions. I want to have deep conversation. I want to talk about music and art and things in a way where I can learn from people. I spent so many years of my life being ignorant and just thinking that I fucking knew the best for me, when the truth of the matter is I was just fucking being young and dumb, and now I want to learn everything. So like, try to be open and understanding to different things.
Hell yeah.
You don't always have to agree, and just because you don't understand something doesn't mean that you're right. It just means that it's not for you, and that's okay too. Well, not everything is for everyone.
When like, say for example, I went to see the Barbie movie with Shawnee.
Delicious.
Right? I thought it was a good movie, but I didn't think it was the best movie on the face of the planet, right? But Shawnee put it into perspective. She was just like, it wasn't made for you.
Right.
And that's the thing. Certain things aren't made for you. They're made, and sometimes it doesn't strike that chord with you.
I mean, dude, you see the Lego movie?
Yeah.
Fucking incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That was made for me.
Yeah.
Because I grew up, Lincoln Logs and Legos were my shit when I was a kid. And, like, the humor is great, everything's great. That's the thing. Like, some things just aren't made for you.
Yeah.
And there's nothing fucking wrong with that. Just grow up.
Yeah.
Accept that.
Stop being selfish.
Accept that the most beautiful part of where we're at is diversity, whether it be in people or music or culture. That is the most beautiful part. So, like, if you can't accept that, you're just lying, because it's simple facts. Like, if everything was for everybody, life would fucking be boring as shit.
Yeah.
If everything was perfect all the time, the good shit would just feel like every single day. There'd be no happy
Boring.
shit, right? So like
Don't
what's
like
the difference?
it.
If you don't like the music, cool. If you like our old record, that shit's gonna be around forever.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It ain't
You've
going
got it
nowhere.
already. You don't have to spend any more money. Enjoy. Come see us play those songs. Hang out. Perfect.
Yeah.
We're good.
That's what I tell people about Star Wars. The new Star. Everybody goes, "Oh, the new Star Wars sucks." I'm like, they're not for you.
Oh,
They're
Star
not.
Wars.
They're made
Oh,
for
Star
kids.
Wars sucks.
It's made for kids.
I fucking
You know what?
hate
Well, that's
you know
the
what?
thing, it's
I
made
thought
for
it was
kids.
awesome.
Yeah.
So haters can fuck right off. I thought
don't
it was
like-
great.
But
I mean,
I don't like Star Wars.
You know, listen,
Yeah.
part 8 was kind of wonky. 9, I liked.
Nope.
Sorry.
Boring.
Sorry.
But I tell people like
I get why people like
we
it.
liked the old Star Wars because we were kids.
You know what? How about
It's
this?
for kids.
I liked The Acolyte.
Yeah, that was a good show. I
And
liked
it
it.
got canceled for no reason because you guys fucking hated it.
Yeah.
Nerds.
Nerds. Fucking nerds.
It's like 50-year-old
Goddamn
dude-
interwebs.
It's like 50-year-old
So wait,
dudes.
wait
that are
before
like,
we before we wrap up, you have any other questions about the record that you feel are important to ask us? Because we've been rambling about shit.
I know,
and it's
dude.
been awesome.
Star Wars.
I love these kinds of things. Star Wars sucks.
You're going to do a million Metal Injection, Revolver, press
Sure.
type of interviews about the record, but I just wanted to let you guys know that it is incredible.
Thank you.
Thank
Start to and I love it. I like
Well, what's
to,
your favorite song on the record?
So that's what I was going to say. Like, I like to take a couple of songs and then just milk those songs,
Burn 'em out.
and
Yeah.
burn them out, and then I grab a couple more. Like I did that with Hostage and Savior of None. I started with those two on repeat, and then now I'm moved on to Red Horizon and Silver Sun.
Those are my two favorite songs on the record.
Same.
Really, really awesome. I love the
Lots of dynamic.
the dynamic aspect to it, the heaviness of that. I guess it's the bass, the wow wow.
No, that's all good. That's all the
Oh, that's
strings.
guitar?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
all
man.
that boom boom.
The wow wow. I get the wow wow part is
Yeah,
guitar, but like the
that's-
heavy, the
oh yeah,
deep.
that's all. That and actually, the whole riff is just bends. Those are really tricky to play because we have to kind of get the pitch perfect on stage. Because if I overbend or underbend, it just sounds flat or sharp.
Yeah.
Like it's not easy to play. In theory, if you're playing it alone, pretty easy.
Alone is
But the
fine.
minute me and Tim and Blue all have to play together, we all got to bend those. You know, and sometimes you'll hear them go a little sharp, and I'm like, oh, like, you know, those. And also, we have another song like that too. Fucking higher level of hate is that way too. You know, there's the bendy stuff is tough, but yeah, those are fun songs. And Silver Sun, by far my favorite song Fit for an Autopsy's ever written.
Nice.
That's
nice.
a beautiful song.
Yep.
It's beautiful. Like, it starts off in this it's like sounds serene and like washed out and interesting, and then just like that almost clean gun, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get that whole thing happening. So it's like that's my jam.
For me, this is a typical husband behavior, but my wife is my barometer as to when a band is doing something right. Because I've been listening to Fit for years.
Yeah.
And I'll blast it in the house, and she never says anything. She'll just walk around. She's like, "That's heavy." And I'm like, "All right, yeah, I know." And that, but when I put Hostage on, she's like, "What was that?" I'm like, "That's Fit for an
There you
Autopsy."
go.
And she's like, "Wow, that's really good." And I showed her Silver Sun. She's like, "That was good too." I'm like, "They found something. You found something that will bring in my wife into the
Which
into
is
that
awesome.
That's
fold,
what
you
we're
know?
trying to do. Make it accessible for everybody.
Yeah.
So that people that like what we do already can come, and then
course.
they can bring their cousins that don't really like
Yeah.
heavy music. And they can be like, "Well, this is kind of cool."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gateway band, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, bring them in, rope them in, get them in here.
Yeah.
That's the idea, you know. And somebody said, "Dude, this song could be on the radio,"
Yeah.
and I was like, maybe not exactly, but I understand the sentiment.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We are still an extreme band, but we're extreme in the way that we want people that don't necessarily love extreme music to go, "Wow, this is fucking cool. Like,
Yeah.
what is this?"
Yeah.
And then open up to the rest of our, you know, catalog and hopefully other bands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
You know, and we've always been a weird political band, so you don't have to worry about, like, we allow the Cannibal Corpses of the world to have their, you know, we call it fucking horror metal, you know, where they're writing these fucking crazy songs and all these lyrics, but we find the darkness in people and what your neighbor is capable of doing, and, you know, what people are hiding behind.
That's the
and,
scariest
yeah,
shit ever.
You know, that whole who are you and no one's watching kind of
Yeah.
idea that we talk about a lot in our music. And
You guys ever watch Netflix documentaries?
dude,
that shit is
scary
horrifying.
as fuck, bro. Like, you know,
That's why I don't even watch it. It's too much for me.
Worst
Yeah.
roommate
I'd rather watch
ever?
gory movies like Terrifier. That's
Fantastic.
like that's fun.
Worst roommate ever is crazy,
crazy.
bro.
Yeah,
So like that's the whole idea with the band is we want to be accessible and we write lyrics in a way where people can kind of formulate their own kind of. That's why I don't like talking about what our lyrics are about too often, unless it's about like a song that there's no mistake.
It's all up to interpretation.
It's up to interpretation. It's dark. It's sad. It's angry, but it's accessible, and that's kind of the move. You know what I mean? Like everybody likes a good scary movie that the whole family can watch. You
Yeah.
know, maybe not a 10-year-old, but maybe
Yeah.
a 15-year-old. You know what I mean? Stuff that's accessible. So, you know, that's kind of where we're headed.
Yeah. Well, let's end the chat with debunking Tonewood. What was it you said?
Tonewood is a myth. So okay. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I don't like this wood because of this, right? Now,
But you have to explain the background of that.
okay,
You can't just say because they're going to think it's looks. So different woods have different qualities tonally. Some woods are brighter. Some woods are like deeper sounding, more bass heavy. Some woods are a little more neutral. Like mahogany would be like a rollier, kind of deeper sounding, but like on the brighter end of the spectrum still. And then like alder's going to be a lot brighter. You know, basswood's like a really neutral sounding wood.
all this is a lie.
But-
It's a
right.
myth.
They say this is a myth. Some people say it's a myth.
No. The reason
Right.
why I say it is a myth is because, like, obviously when you have an acoustic guitar, certain woods are going to sound a certain way. When you have a clean tone and stuff like that, it's going to sound a certain way, you know, different settings. But when you're playing metal and everything is so heavily processed, a lot of that stuff, that the room for that tone wood to be a major factor slims down very much so.
Well, I think it narrows out because when you're doing what we do, you have a lot of opportunity to tweak your tone through whether you're using a quad cortex or an amplifier or, you know, using a tube head or whatever. You can manipulate your tone. Like a lot of it, there's like EQs and gain staging and all these different things that you can do. If you're not a guitar player, just trying to like lay it in like normal terms, like the same way you can go in and adjust your stereo in your car to make the bass heavier or, you know, hear more vocals and things like that. You can kind of do that with your guitar tone. So I agree with Tim to a certain degree. I think where it really shines is in studio situations because you can take a set of pickups and put them in 4 different guitars and have them sound completely different.
100%.
Which has to do with not only the wood, but the construction, neck through, bolt on. Like there's all these little things that affect the tone. But it's just a stupid argument. And here's what I'll say to it. If you spend the time, no matter what you're using, you can get a good tone. You could do it with a Stratocaster with a humbucker in it, and when you're playing death metal, I mean, the dudes from Obituary are using like traditional Strats,
Yeah.
you know, and then or you can do what we do and use some goofy ass guitar with extra strings,
Yeah.
and do it with that. You know what I mean? There's all of these ways to achieve a tone, but what Tim is talking about is just
I like trolling the shit
trolling
out of
the
people
internet.
because people that have spent their life working with guitars and working in the studio are like, it's not a myth, it's real. And I'm like, I know it's real, but saying it on the internet makes it true. So Tonewood's a myth.
Right. What we call this is blissful ignorance. Right now.
Just
That's
me
what we
being
call
a
this.
dickhead.
Does the hunt for tone ever end for
No,
you guys?
not
Absolutely not.
fucking ever.
No,
You want to know
no.
how many guitars? Okay, I have a goddamn problem, bro, because I got 2 guitars, one right before I left, and then picked up an absolutely stunning Jackson custom shop guitar on this tour that was built by Pat over at Jackson, and thank you to Jackson and the whole custom shop team, and you know, Pat and Mike Tempesta and the whole team over there for like giving me a shot to work with them because these guitars are fucking crazy. I bought another guitar before I left for tour, and now I'm thinking about buying another one in a few days.
So then,
I got problems,
but
bro.
here's the
and it's
thing.
all about searching for that one.
well, me and Pat, there's a difference when it comes to guitarists, right? You're either a guitar guy or you're an amp guy, right?
I agree.
Me and Pat are guitar guys.
Yeah,
Will's an amp guy,
that's true.
which big time amp guy. But it's kind of funny when you get guitar guys on tour together, it's terrible.
Okay, and Blue, the funny thing is, Blue, our bass player, is also a guitar player.
he's a guitar player.
And he's also a guitar guy. So we'll be laying in our bunks at like 3 in the morning. We have a text message called Stringy Boys.
Yeah. It's just us three.
It's just the three of us sharing Facebook Marketplace and like
it's the worst
reverb listings of all these guitars. And like, I'm brand loyal when it comes to Jackson for sure. I love this stuff. These guys are Ibanez players.
Yeah.
But we all have huge collections. I own ESPs. I own Fenders. I own.
How many guitars do you have at home
to get
right
me
now?
divorced?
Right now.
I don't think your wife's listening to this.
Last I counted,
she also doesn't care.
49.
Yeah,
49.
I'm probably in the like late 40s, early 50s somewhere.
Yeah.
But here's the fucked up thing. I got a friend named Rick Bryle.
That
plays guitar for
Rick
a really
literally
good
just
band
texted
called
me.
the 100 Demons, and he's got more guitars than most guitar stores that I know. So my addiction is a problem, but I know there's a lot worse than us. Sammy Douay from fucking
Sammy's got some cool shit.
Goat Whore.
Yeah.
That dude's got a collection that I've been trying to buy stuff from that dude for years. Like, there are just some people out there that get it, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's a great hobby as long as you can, when you're. Do I eat this week or do I buy this guitar? Like, as long as it's not getting that
Amen
far,
to that,
it's good.
How many do you bring on tour with you?
Okay. Right now I have 6.
I got 5.
Oh, I think I have 5 because
2 Yankees and 1 single case.
2 Yankees and 1 single.
Yeah, so we got 5.
Oh yeah, because I dropped a guitar off at home.
Yeah.
Because I got a new guitar on this tour. So when we were in Atlanta, I sent one home.
Yeah.
Generally, in the States, we bring, if we're playing 2 towers, which we are on this tour, we bring 5 because we have 3 different tunings. And 2 towers is just one song, and it's like a weird tuning. It's basically
It's E standard with a G
E
on the
standard
bottom.
with a drop G on a 7, and it just kind of does like a really interesting thing tonally. Something Will discovered in his mad scientist lab. So, but usually I bring a main and a backup for each tuning.
Okay.
So, but because it's only one song, it's
Just the one.
just the one, and I can take an A guitar out of my thing, and if I have to, like if I break a string or something, I always bring an extra hardtail, and Tim's a hardtail guy. I'm a Floyd Rose guy, because I like better things.
After playing that AZ for this run,
baby. You're a Floyd guy now. I see it coming.
I don't know about locking.
Yeah, but the 2-point trims,
those
dude.
2.7s, like,
I've been telling him for a long time.
I'm looking at those.
I'm reeling
things
them
are
in,
comfy,
dude.
real
Yeah.
comfy. I mean, I did take that tremolo off of that Zyphos that I got, and I've been playing that with just a straight
It makes a
Floyd.
difference, dude.
Does.
It makes a difference.
Does.
Just put your hand in a cool spot.
You know what? It's not even the hand. It's my left hand. I feel
Well,
like
the
my
slinkiness
bending.
of the pull. Oh,
feel like
yeah.
my bending is a little bit
Smooth as
more
pudding,
smooth.
baby. Yep.
Yeah, I like that a little bit more.
Yeah, you did this to yourself. You
Fucking
asked a question.
nerds.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey,
That's what I'm
how's
saying.
your fucking video game?
Yeah.
Dude, I've been playing.
Hang on for a minute.
I was
Hang
watching.
on.
Yeah, I was watching Star Trek.
No, I don't watch Star Trek.
Star
I'm a
Big
Star
Star
Wars.
Trek guy.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
I do play video games. I've been playing the Call
That's
of Duty
okay, dude.
campaign.
I play
It's
video
good.
games
It's
too.
good.
They're called really expensive guitars.
You know what's fucked up? I stopped playing video games for like 3 years, and like I was like, I don't want to do it. Just kind of, I know there's shit to do. I had business shit to do.
Yeah.
I was like making money and like paying my bills. But then my fiance was replaying through GTA 5 because
Oh, yeah.
GTA 6 is coming out next year.
Yeah.
And
Hopefully.
fingers crossed. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I haven't played that in like 10 years. Let me go through the whole story again. And I kind of got back into video games.
My wife works in video games, so I'm around it all day anyway, all the time. I know, dude. Yeah, we'll
Where
talk.
does she work?
We'll talk after. I don't want to put it on the pod.
Yeah.
We'll talk after.
Let's go.
All right, so
right.
let's wrap this up. Tour.
Yes.
How many more dates you have?
Technically,
think 12.
2 weeks on this tour, and then we're home for like 3 or 4 days, and we immediately fly to Europe for another 30 days.
Bingo.
We will be home in our homes on December 23rd.
I'll be home in
Right
January.
before Christmas? Like
Yeah.
right the
Well,
day before?
we fly back. We leave the morning of the 22nd from Germany, and we'll get back to the States the evening of the 22nd because we're 6 hours behind. And then the next morning, I fly back to Atlanta. Yeah.
Cutting it close.
Nah. Just a holiday. Jesus
Yeah.
holiday.
Yeah. Well, please, if you're watching and you're in any of the cities where they are playing, go see them.
Yeah.
Spend money at the show. Buy their
Or,
merchandise.
You know what? Don't just come see us play.
Yeah.
No,
Just
buy
come
merchandise.
see us.
God
Just
damn
come
it.
We
out.
appreciate that, but we
If
just
you
want you
wanna
to
buy
come see
merch,
us
you
play.
can,
You
but
can.
just
Just
come
more
hang out.
importantly, come hang out
Give
with
us
us
high
and see what we
fives.
do.
Give us
And,
high fives.
Yeah. Tell us we suck or tell us we're awesome. If
Yeah.
you come hang out, we'll listen.
Yes.
Just be nice.
If you're watching this show, you've seen me posting shit on social media about the new album. I've been posting clips and videos and pictures of me with the song playing in the background just because. So if you haven't already, please listen to the new album, The Nothing That Is.
Nothing that is.
The Nothing That Is. The artwork is incredible. I keep staring into that
Adam
deep
Burke.
void
Yes.
black
Adam
hole
Burke.
that's sucking my soul. I just keep staring at it.
If you keep looking at it, you find all kinds of weird shit.
I started seeing my face, and I'm like, oh, wait, it's the plastic reflection from the rapper.
I'm on too many weeds.
I'm on too many weeds.
Too many weeds.
I've done too many marijuanas. But yes, please listen to the album. Go check them out on tour and follow. Where do you want to be followed on the
Just
internet?
go follow the Fit Instagram.
Follow
Don't worry
Fit Instagram.
personal pages
You can
or
find
whatever.
all of us over there.
If you need-
we
if you
have
need
all our
leather
everything's
goods,
in the bios.
Leather goods over here.
You need
I don't-
leather goods. You need tattoos.
Tattoos.
You need motorcycle stuff. Let me know.
Motorcycle stuff.
He'll help you cut the collar off your vest.
No, no, I'm a 1-inch collar guy. Mandarin collar.
Well, Tim, Pat, thank you so much,
Thank
dude.
you for having us.
Thank
Hell
you guys
yeah.
for watching.
Thanks, guys.
See you
See you
next
guys next time.